Hello, hello. I am so excited. I'm Lanissa James, Executive Director with MACHE, the Maryland Association of Christian Home Educators, and we are excited to not be back to school, but we're homeschooling. And I'm so excited that we're actually getting ready to have our last of three special needs summer series. Did you guys know that summer goes until September 22nd? Just for the record, it's still summertime. We're excited. And isn't it great that you can decide when you're back to school? You get to decide if you're starting now, if you continued all summer, or if you decide, like me, you're starting after Labor Day. It's totally okay for you to design your homeschool to work for you. And what we want to do, that if you registered for this event on our website, going to machemd.org, I'll put our banner up, machemd.org, you're going to actually get some freebies, okay? You're going to actually get some freebies that will help you. And one of the things that we want to do is help you design your homeschool life the way it works for you. So it's just a great little why sheet so that you can really center yourself, so that you don't have to copy the kid going on the school bus, or or the neighbor next door, or the cousin or the aunt, that you can literally set up your homeschool to work for you and your family. We have some phenomenal people here for you today, and I'm very excited about it. The first person I want to reintroduce you to is Dr. Rochelle Somerville. Now, you met her in the beginning of the series back in June. You don't remember? Don't worry. Those series are going to be on our MACHE YouTube channel. We'll give you more information about that, where you can actually get a chance to see us back in June. And Sarah Collins from Homeschool OT, who was in July. And today we're going to have Amy, and it's going to be so exciting. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up to the stage our friend and local homeschooler, Dr. Rochelle Somerville. How are you, Rochelle?
I am well. So excited to be back here with you. It's so nice to be back with MACHE.
It's exciting. It's exciting. You are too a Maryland homeschooler. So tell us, are you the I've been homeschooling all summer? Are you the I've started now, or I'm starting after Labor Day? Who are you?
Listen, I usually homeschool all year round, but you know what? I gave us a genuine break, but we started this week, and so we are back in the thick of things.
Awesome. Awesome. So see, you're going to get the best of all worlds. You got the gal who started and the girl who is trying not to start until after Labor Day. Like, I'm like, listen, no fast movement around here. Don't bring out math. No, just wait. We still have another holiday. So this is exciting. And we're excited to announce that we have a homeschooling through high school webinar coming up, and I'm very excited about it. If you have not, it's a free webinar. It's open to the world, definitely with the focus on Maryland homeschoolers. We are teamed up with College Fair USA, and they are bringing the colleges to you virtually. It is going to be awesome. It is coming up on September 17th, okay? You want to go to our website and register. So just go on our website, scroll down to the menu section where it says events, just right on the main page, and there it is. And I want you to register. I believe that they're going to give me a link so that you can get registered for that. It's going to be a great event. So if you have a high schooler, if you have a middle schooler, right? Because high school starts well before high school. In fact, do yourself a favor and start before your kid gets to 9th grade. So we're very excited about that. And Dr. Rochelle Somerville has been helping us with all things special needs. We have a whole special needs section on our website. Let me just put that up. And she's just working on making sure that we have the best providers available to you, so that you know what's going on in your state, around your state. And I'm always asking her opinion, right? I have my special needs son who is seeing speech pathology, but she's Dr. Rochelle. She has a very wide knowledge. And so talk to us about how people can create their special needs village, right? As schooling has started. Talk a little bit about what you were saying back in June, so that people understand exactly what it takes to make sure that they have a plan for their homeschool.
Absolutely. Just like you said, it's a village approach when you have a learner with special needs. We don't do anything alone when we homeschool, and it takes just a little bit more of that village approach when you have a learner that learns outside of the box. And so you don't only want to, what my daughter refers to as put on your safety mask first. You want to make sure that you equip yourself with support. And so sometimes that means finding a person that's been through it and has resources. But as Lanissa says, we are working on creating a robust list of providers that are homeschool friendly. So if you know of a provider that's worked well for you, let us know so that we can add it to our list. But as homeschoolers, we find those resources ourselves. We are the administrator of our homeschool. And so we are finding those professionals to create that village. So if you need speech or OT or just that support person to what groups are good for homeschoolers with special needs. And so create that village approach for you. So who are those professionals that work well? So we are creating that system of support for our learners to actually navigate this homeschool so they can thrive too. And so that's what we're talking about with that village approach, is that we are positioning those people around us to create that team for ourselves.
Yes, I love that. So she's going to be, working on the website, and it's really about, you may have people who've helped you in the state, people you might be working with virtually. We really just want to really have a gamut of people who we say, you know what, my kid has autism, my kid has ADHD, my kid has, needs speech pathology, my kid needs OT, or whatever it is that they need. We want to be able to point you and identify people who are friendly towards homeschoolers. And so that is a big deal for us, right? So Rochelle, we appreciate you, so much, and your expertise. And which brings me to what we're going to talk about today, because I was like, Rochelle, who should we use to kind of finish the series? I was like, who should we use that that can kind of tie, the special needs, and even just a student who's not special needs, what kind of resources? And you mentioned Play and Talk, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell us why. Give us a little bit of background on why you think this is great, what everybody's like to experience.
Yes, I think that I was just browsing a conference one day, and I'm always looking for great resources, but not only great resources. This particular person I ran into she just struck me as, first of all, very, very personable. But the resource was great because it's not only for those with special needs, but it's a great resource that everybody can access. If you've got just a struggling reader and you need a little bit more support, I said, oh, that's a great resource. It's a multi-sensory resource. And then, as I was watching people kind of walk past at the conference, I thought, wow, all kinds of learners, young learners would stop and engage. And then I would walk again and I kind of eyeball, and I saw older learners engaging in different aspects of the curriculum and pieces of the curriculum. And then as I talked to Amy, I thought, wow, if they're reading struggles, and it's not only about reading, the fact that it's multi-sensory, it appeals to so many different type of learners. And so I definitely had to mention to Lanissa that this is the perfect way to end this series, because it grabs on, like you said, whether you have a diagnosis or not. A struggle is a struggle. If you're struggling a little bit with reading, it doesn't matter what label it comes with. I think that certain resources are really, really good. Some of the best resources come from being multisensory, and I think Amy will pull that apart in terms of what that actually means. And so I was like, oh, we have to have her on this series. And so I think this is a great way to wrap the series up.
I love this. Well, without further ado, can you pronounce her last name so I don't mess it up?
Eucce.
Eucce?
Yes.
Eucce.
Wait,
okay.
Now I hope I didn't mess it up. So
she's shaking her head and she's got it's Aimee Eucce. And listen to this. She's a second generation homeschool mom. Okay. And she'll talk a little bit about that. Beating the odds, right? Working with homeschool kids who struggle with dyslexia, ADHD, auditory processing, all of the things. And she has her college grad and a successful entrepreneur. I want to present to some and introduce to others, Aimee Eucce. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hey, everybody. I am so glad to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Well, Amy, you got to start with your 90-second homeschool story. We always start everybody that way. Parents just want to know. They're like, okay, why Amy? Tell us a little bit about it. You said second generation. Tell us more.
Yeah, no, well, my mom started me out in a school, in a preschool, Montessori school. And I ended up being one of those that spiked a fever every day and threw up. So she quickly knew that she could not stick this child in a preschool. She decided to homeschool, but I was homeschooled in the 1980s, you guys. That's the dark ages of homeschooling.
Yes.
We're talking, I was in California at the time. That's where we lived originally. Yes. My mom would say, hey, you cannot go outside yet because it's not 2:00. The truant officer will pick you up.
Right.
True story, homeschooling in the 1980s. You're welcome, all of you people that are homeschooling nowadays. You don't have to worry about the truant officer.
That's right.
But yeah, no, at the ripe old age of 5, I was diagnosed with all the things. And my mom knew that she had a very special learner. And back then, though, they didn't know how to diagnose well, because when they did diagnose me, they told me that I would never read past 6th grade level, to just not even try. Mm. And as a pastor's mama and a God-fearing Christian woman, my mom was like, yeah, no, not my daughter. The Bible says otherwise. And she went on the hunt. But see, think about this. In the 1980s, did you have the internet?
Nope.
No. We had Mary Pride's Big Book of Homeschooling, which is like the phone book version of all the reviews of homeschooling curriculum. She went through everything. And then she found this little program called Play and Talk that had been around since 1962. It was multisensory, all the things. She contacted the owner, who happened to actually live near our town in California, and because we were in San Diego, and she started putting me through it. Neurotypical kids will complete the program in just 2 years, 20 minutes a day. Neurodiverse, it can be anywhere from 6 months to 3 or even 4 years. So it took me about 4 years, but by the time I was finished with it, I was reading at a college level. I was spelling 11th and 12th grade level words. Not only that, but I loved reading. I then became the kid, the brilliant part about the ADHD, right? I then became the kid where my mom's like, go outside and play. You're reading too much.
I love it.
Going from one end to the other. And so my mom has patience like none other. She said that occasionally she'd run outside. She'd go, ah! And then she'd go back inside and homeschool me. But once she started homeschooling the other 3 below me, she figured out how easy it was to actually homeschool. I was her test trial child that struggled with all the things. Yes. So fast forward a bazillion years, and in 2019, I started homeschooling my kiddos, who I didn't know were neurodivergent as well in the beginning. But when we started taking about a year to learn the alphabet, letters, and sounds, I figured it out. Mm-hmm. And I made the worst mistake. Okay, rookie mistake. True confessions. You want to know what I did?
What? Tell us.
I taught them their letters and sounds, and then I took the summer off. Guess what?
They didn't know their letters and sounds when they came back.
We had to do it all.
There we go. Total impression.
We're talking about, how much you homeschool. For me, I homeschool year round. I just do 4 days a week during like this season until February. And then because I go speak at a lot of these conferences, I actually do 3 days from March through the end of July. And we found that for us, that rhythm works really well. And then my kids don't forget things.
I love that. I love that. So I'm going to put the name of your company up. It's called playandtalk.com, just for people who are just joining us. And I want you to, you obviously brought a company that helped you when you were a child. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, like, you obviously liked it enough, right?
Yeah, no, it's nothing short of a miracle, honestly, because when I was young, I never would have thought I'm going to grow up and own Play and Talk. That was not on the radar.
Right.
But God knew better. I guess in 2007, Play and Talk, the founder, she had passed away, and her kids had their own big businesses. So they just closed Play and Talk down. But when I was starting to homeschool my kids in 2019, I knew that Play and Talk was the best and that I wanted to teach with Play and Talk. So I approached the family. I asked them if I could bring it back. So in 2020, when COVID hit, I relaunched Play and Talk as a company. So we missed a whole generation of kids, though. During our absence, a lot of competitors rose up and, people just forgot about us. But if you talk to any of the old schooling homeschool mamas that homeschooled in the 80s and 90s, they're like, oh, Play and Talk, we love it. So we're bringing it back. back for this generation. I have slowly, I have never changed the method because the method doesn't need to change. It has worked since 1962. It works today, but we have done the wrapping paper. So we've re-illustrated things. We've redone the audio, the wrapping paper, so to speak, just to make it easier. Our instruction manuals, they were rewritten to, be Instagram easy, because a manual from the 1980s was very different from a manual today, right?
Yes.
But all it is it's 20 minutes a day. So we start with teaching letters and sounds. We do that through a song that was developed by musical therapists. So it stimulates the correct side of their brain for learning and retention. You do 10 minutes with the song and the flashcards, give them a break because they're little, bring them back, and you do 10 minutes of kinesthetic activities. So we'll tell you to use these two fingers in writing in sand. We'll tell you to use gross motor movements with chalk. We'll tell you to jump on letters. We'll tell you to shoot Nerf guns with letters. Lots of different fun activities to learn their letters and sounds. And that's sing and sound. That's the very first level. Then you've got series 1 through 4. Each series takes a semester. Series 1 is kindergarten level. They'll know their first 100 word families. And it also covers pre-reading phonemic awareness. And then series 2 goes from first grade spelling to fourth grade spelling and reading. So in one semester, you've gone from first to fourth, right? And then in another semester, series 3, that goes to fifth, sixth grade level spelling and reading. And then series 4 goes to 12th grade level of spelling and college level of reading. So in 2 years, 20 minutes a day, you've accomplished everything you need to do with spelling, reading, and typing, because we use typing as a kinesthetic reinforcement to work on their spelling.
I love that. I
we
love
have
that.
over 210 audio lessons, so you're not the teacher.
I love that. And so is it on MP3 or where are the audio lessons?
It is. We have an app for that, but we also have MP3s because some of my mamas love these little things called like Yodo players.
Yeah, I just heard about that.
I've missed the boat with that. My kids are 11 and 8. I've missed the boat. We're all into Audible, right?
Right.
So I've got too many Hank the Cow Dogs on Audible to invest in the Yodo player. But for my Yodo moms, we do have it on MP3, or we have a nice little app.
I love that. I love that. So yeah, so we actually posted a video of unboxing. So I have like the whole box here, thanks to Amy, right? I got it all. I am so excited. I think what I want to know is, talk to me a little bit about ADHD or dyslexia, for a parent who is, has been diagnosed and they want to know kind of where to start. What would you recommend to them? Like how do they jump in?
First and foremost, don't spend a lot of money. That's the first and foremost, because there are lots of resources out there that don't cost a lot of money. So I would do that first and foremost. I would find my Facebook group and get involved in my Facebook group, because we have so many neurodivergent kiddos in there, because I've got this amazing resource. So my kids, I found an actual MD. She's a neurologist, like a full-on neurologist. She's in Knoxville, Tennessee. And my kids go see her, and they do exercises to help the different parts of their brain fire that aren't firing correctly. And the sad thing is that this sort of thing has been available since the 1980s, but it's still not known heavily nowadays. And it works. I did that alongside of Play and Talk, and it worked for me. And I'm having my kids do it as well. And I'm seeing leaps and bounds with these exercises, and it's cross midline exercises. But she, for the price of a book, is actually writing a book because it's her life's work. And I dare say that there's probably only like 10 of her in the country. And she, for the price of the book, is going to give people the ability to test and provide the exercises for their kids to help remediate what they're dealing with.
I love that.
Exercises are huge when it comes to dyslexia. You can find providers very far and few between, but you can find providers like her. I would encourage you to try to find a provider like her. She's covered by my health insurance, so I don't have to pay anything. It is a miracle. I'm just thank the Lord. And I'm so excited that, and this is why I said get involved in my Facebook group, that she's writing a book. As soon as she writes that book, I keep asking her, but she also struggles with all the things. And when you struggle with all the things, you have great expectations of when you're going to finish. but it doesn't always happen on time.
Right.
Yes.
So my kids have an appointment in the end of September, and I'm going to be like, hey, I have like 3,000 moms that really want your information. Are you done with your book yet?
Yeah, exactly. I
But
love
don't
that.
spend a lot of money, because there's too many people out there that will say, I've got the solution for this, and I've got the solution for this. And then you're $10,000 into your one dyslexic child. And more than likely, if you have one dyslexic child, there's variations in all the rest of the kids.
Right.
Yes.
I thought my daughter didn't have dyslexia. I totally thought she didn't. I took her, got her tested. She has it very mildly. And I wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have gotten her tested with my son. Now, my son, profound. He's so much like his mama. But the biggest thing too is to really watch our words with our kids too. Like, I don't tell them they have, I tell them that they struggle with. Because if you believe in the word, and we're Christians here, right? If you believe in the word of God says that you have the mind of Christ. And it also says that you can do all things with him, right?
Yes.
So if you can, then there's no ceilings. But if you say, I have this, then you fall underneath the ceiling of what that diagnosis says instead of what the word of God says. So I always teach, whenever I speak across the country, whenever I teach my kids, anyone else that will listen to me, I tell them they struggle with this. Don't own a diagnosis. Let them struggle with it, because if they struggle with it, they can overcome it. And I'm living proof. I've gone on to do things that would be hard for people with quote unquote diagnosis, but all I can say is but God, God, and a solid phonics program. And it both have changed my life. Honestly.
I love that. And our conference theme this year is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so we're thrilled about it. And it's called Inspire. So do put on your calendar May 14th and 15th, 2027 to come to our conference, because that just your words, Aimee, have inspired us to, to dig deeper into, like you said, diagnosis and everything that's going on. And Dr. Rochelle, you brought up this subject before about kids who are not diagnosed, right? Who
Absolutely.
just parents who, because parents really are the main educators here in a homeschool setting. So they need to be equipped to be able to help their kid. Talk a little bit about that, because I think sometimes we have this mindset that we want to take our kids somewhere to get help, but yet we're here 365 days out of the year. We have this child in front of us, and we need resources in order to support whatever it is that's going on with our child. Did you want to just kind of unpack that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remind people all the time that we, as the parents, we remain the specialists. When we go to other professionals, they can only serve our kids once they get information from us, right? We have to give them the information. And then, so it's a mindset that we've gone to them and we call them the specialists. However, they can't do their job unless we, as the specialists, equip them. And so the roles are actually reversed, that society says that they're the specialists because they've gone to school, and they may have a certain special training, but we're the specialists of our children. They may have a specialty in terms of knowledge, but we are the specialists of our children. I think we have to remember that always. And so when we have a tool like what Aimee is providing to people, I think we have to take that tool and apply it as the specialist to our children. And so I think what Aimee has brought back is a gift to all children. And so I absolutely, like I said, I walked past and absolutely fell in love, because I think the way that you can implement all of the tools that she has to offer is amazing. But Aimee, I have a question for you. So for all of the families that say, I've already purchased 2, 3, 4, 5 programs, like this is a lot of money. Like what do I do? Like, and they begin to wonder, whether the program is their ability to teach their children. What do you say to those families?
I want to tell a little story about that, actually. Because it drove it home for me. I was speaking at a conference and I went to the green room, right, where the speakers go afterwards. And the big speaker, the big guy, the big one, the one that everybody knows, and I'm just a little speaker, right? They point at me and they say, "You." I was like, "What?" I just gotten done speaking. They're like, "You were the only woman in the men's only session." I was like, "No, it wasn't me. I just came from speaking. It wasn't me." So it was completely awkward. So being the homeschool kid graduate that I am, I'm like, I'm going to not let this awkwardness stand. So I go and I talk to the man, and he finds out that I struggle with dyslexia. He finds out all these things. He finds out about play and talk. And then he starts to ask me, oh, well, did you do this in your career? And then he stops himself. He's like, oh, no, never mind. You wouldn't have been good at that because of what you struggled with. And I said, oh, no, I'm very good at that. And he looked shocked. He looked kind of like I slapped him. And I come to find out that he had a child that struggled with the same things, and they had settled for this is as good as it gets. The biggest thing for our kids that struggle is never settle for this is as good as it gets. And I get the mamas every day that are like, I've tried 8 different curriculum. None of them worked. Why is it that yours is going to be different? And the biggest reason why is because we have the audio, so they hear it, they speak it out while they look in their book at the same time. They're using multiple senses in a 10-minute session, and it's short. That's important as well. Then we give them a break, and then they play with it and do it with their hands with different games. And so for a lot of our mamas, they don't understand why games are so important. So I'm going to tell you another quick story if that's okay. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, so being the neurodivergent, all the things person, I asked my husband, because we have been living in a fifth wheel because we're building a house. Exciting.
Yay. I'm an
Trying to
RV.
living in a fifth wheel with 2 children. It's a little interesting, right?
Yes.
So my husband's going to go on a work trip, and I said, babe, how do I empty the black tank? Because the black tank is associated with the potty.
Yes.
And if you don't empty said black tank, you have a mess in your fifth wheel, right?
Yes, you
That's
do.
a bad day. So I said, how do I empty this? He's like, oh, seriously? I've told you 100 times. And I look at him, because we've been married 15 years this year. I'm like, honey? He's like, oh, fine. So he takes me outside. He says, put your hand here, do this, do this. And he continues to tell me how to do it. And I do it with my hands. Once I've done it with my hands once or twice, I will never forget it. Now, when he comes home from said work trip, I might forget to do it because it's his job and not mine, right? But I will never forget it. And I say that because a lot of our parents don't understand what it's like to be a kinesthetic learner. And most curriculum today is not set up for kinesthetic learners. But if we do it with our hands, it goes into our long-term memory so much faster. Otherwise, it's pure memorization. And memorization takes thousands and thousands of exposures, especially for our kids that struggle. So if no matter what you're teaching, whether it's reading, mathematics, history, if you can take that lesson and instead of looking at a picture in a book like textbook style and turn it into 3D, like you're building it out of Legos or you're building it out of popsicle sticks, or you're doing something that they can do it with their hands, they will never forget what they're what you are teaching them. And I tell those 2 stories because number one, you don't ever want to give up. And yes, it's okay if you've done 8 different curriculum. Ours is different. But also, no matter what you're teaching your child, if you teach using their hands, using play, it may not be as much of an important thing for you because you're like, why do I want to do the play? I just want to do worksheets. Worksheets for a kiddo that struggles is a lot of times kind of like, AG double hockey sticks, right?
Yes.
If I had been stuck to do a worksheet curriculum when I was a child, I would have just, not a good thing. We want to use our hands, and that's how we learn. And I tell that story because as an adult, that's how I learned today. That's how your 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15-year-old learns today as well.
I love that. Yeah, I'm a big fan. We start all of our programs, with games, logic games, but I just think that it really opens up learning and kids get a chance to connect. And before you know it, they're learning and they never even knew it started, right? Because they're like, oh, I'm just playing. I'm matching. I'm this, I'm that, I'm counting. And, it's exciting, Aimee. We really, really appreciate you stopping by MACHE to spread all of your great energy about play and talk. Tell us a little bit about, you have a freebie that they're going to get a hold of. If they go and register, they'll get a hold of. Tell us a little bit about the freebie. It was really, being a personality expert, it really was intriguing for me. Okay. I'm licensed in the Myers-Briggs type indicator and the DISC. And so when I saw it, I thought, I like this. So tell us a little bit about the freebie that you have for everybody?
That's what I was trying to do. I love those. You know, everybody always on Instagram and whatnot, we fill out those little quizzes and it says what, you know, Disney princess you are, or what this, or what that, or I'm an ENFJ, whatever, or all the things.
Right.
I'm a number this. And I was like, we need that for homeschool. And so I worked really hard to develop a list of questions that really would kind of determine whether you're more Charlotte Mason, are you unschooling, are you more like CC oriented, you know, what style do you gravitate towards? And there are questions that really seem like, how is this doing anything? But it does, and it is so accurate. It will tell you what percentage of all the different homeschooling philosophies you are, because my opinion is that no one is all one philosophy.
Right.
We all cherry pick the best out of all the philosophies to make ours. And then I gave them fun little names and a little, you know, badge, like a little picture to be able to say, I'm this. And it really accurately tells you these types of activities will be best for you if you do this, if you do that. And it's really, it's a fun little kind of viral type quiz. And it's discovermyblueprint.com.
I love it. I love it. Well, we are so very excited. I want you guys to start thinking, as we close, start thinking about your closing encouragement for the not back to school homeschool launch that we're all taking here as we are the end of August, right? And about how you feel you can encourage that new homeschool mama, whether she's, you know, have neurodivergent children, whether she has them or doesn't have them, she's starting, right? You, even if you're brand new or if you're a seasoned veteran, when the year starts again, you're rethinking this call to homeschool. How can you encourage them? Dr. Rochelle, I'm gonna have you go first.
Well, I am going to encourage them by always saying, you have to define what success is in your own homeschool. It is not defined by how Amy defines it or how Anissa defines it or even how Rochelle defines it. You have to look at your individual kids and define what success is, what it looks like. And it's not necessarily going to be academic. We are not all building astrophysicists, right? And so define what success feels like and looks like in your own home. And that's how you're going to achieve it, because it has to be personal and it has to be individualized, because everybody should be able to attain success in their homeschool. And so make it attainable and have fun. If you're not having fun, you haven't created something that's attainable. So enjoy homeschooling, because it is absolutely one of the greatest gifts that you can be given as a child and as a parent.
I love that. I love that. How about you, Amy? How can you encourage?
Don't think about my child is behind. My child is this. I've got to catch my child up. If my mom would have thought that way with me, then I wouldn't be reading and spelling and doing all the things that I do today. She knew that I was on my own track, my own race. And guess what? It didn't matter whether it took me 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 10 years. I still accomplished the same thing that everybody else accomplished. It took me a little bit longer, but it taught me to be more of a stick to it type person, and that I can do all things. And she really instilled that in me. So I think that if you just don't get caught up in what the Joneses of homeschooling, like you had said, are doing, and let them run their own race. And then also give yourself grace. Yes. Because seasons happen. Sometimes you get pregnant and you are thrown up all the time and you can't get done everything that you need to get done. You can't homeschool quite like you did last year. Or maybe you have a death in the family and it just drags you under for a bit. Life happens, but the beautiful thing about seasons is that they begin and they end. And what you do during that season is not going to ruin your child from going to college if you choose to send your child to said college. So give yourself grace, because life happens and you've got to be ready to ebb and flow with what life throws at you.
I love that. I love that. And the only thing that I could say to really encourage you, particularly as we go back to homeschooling, is keep the home in homeschooling. I think sometimes in our quest to find the right activity, the right co-op, the right tutorial, the right curriculum, just whatever it is that we're looking for, we forget to make our home the home base. Like, you want the coolest classroom, right, to be your kitchen table. You got to follow me on my social media. I got up and I set all of Layla's She loves animals. That's my kid. That's my animal kid. So she's got all these little figurines from dinosaurs to horses. And anyways, I set it all around where her breakfast table is, right? So her classroom is all centered around all of her animals and stuff. And I think that's the beautiful thing, you know, because in the traditional setting, it's like, hey, don't bring your toys to school, right? Well, it's home. And so keeping the home in homeschool and understanding that the most important thing is, you know, outside of discipling your child, is setting an atmosphere where home is home sweet home, where it's a home base, where kids will think back and say, you know what, I'm home, you know, and I can be myself, and I can, you know, sit down and I can get help, and it's just a safe, you know, you have nothing to lose and you have nothing to prove at home. So that's my tip to you guys. And this is great. We are not back to school. We are back to homeschooling. And this is the end of the end yet the beginning of our special needs summer series. We're coming to an end, and we're moving to our website where we're going to make sure that you have lots of resources. We'll be adding yours as well, Aimee. We're excited to make sure that people get a hold of you. And again, if you register on our website for this success series, and we'll make sure a link goes on the bottom, we'll make sure that you get her freebie. Rochelle had a freebie. It's just exciting. So ladies, thank you. Thank you for taking 30 minutes out of your homeschool journey. This is so exciting. I want to thank you so much. And for everybody watching, thank you so much for watching us today. And again, thanks again for being here. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.